What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome to another week of Weird News Wednesdays. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We're back again talking all the strangest news stories from around the world. We talk about the news that the real news is too afraid to talk about. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Meehan. Shaun, how is it going?
I'm great. I just finished my tea before it got past the point where it would be too cold to drink.
Yeah, I think there's nothing more embarrassing than having a cold tea. It's like, I've kind of let you down here.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that was lovely about 15 minutes ago.
Are we losing anyone who's not Irish in this conversation?
I think everyone can avail of tea. Everyone can enjoy it. Everyone loves a good cup of tea.
Is it legal everywhere?
Is tea... I think, now look, depending on... whether it's medicinal or not.
Yeah, I know meth is, but is tea legal in, say, I don't know, America?
Americans, shout out in the chat if you are allowed to drink tea. You love a tea party in Boston.
I don't have any tea or coffee. I'm just sitting here, I'm ready to go, Sean. I don't need any ulterior energy sources. All I have is my best pal, Sean.
Oh, that's quite nice. You haven't drank in days, have you?
Oh no, I've got on lots of drugs though. I've really tried to fill in the gaps.
Fill in the liquid with meth, okay.
Yeah, so Sean, this is Weird News Wednesdays. What do we do here other than normally talk shite?
You have spent the week gathering all of the weirdest news stories from around the world, and you're about to read them all out to me, a man who has been hiding under several rocks in the hopes of avoiding any weird news until every Wednesday evening when you regale me with it.
And not only have you hiding under several rocks, one of them was The Rock. So, I mean, you know some pretty big deal. Like, you know some big stars.
That's true. And look, I was comforted while I was there.
Oh, he's pretty big. It's so soothing. He's so nice. So, Sean, we're going to start off Weird News this week with two people that did not have a nice time. I know you're having a lovely old, grand old time hanging out with Dwayne Johnson. But Sean,
yes,
two criminals, they did not have the best time. And I would say that they're quite unlucky. It's possibly the most unlucky you can get during a crime. So, Sean, I'm going to ask you before we start, you're in the process of committing an illegal act, okay?
Oh, okay, right. Don't tell.
Don't. I'm not telling anyone. Whoever's listening to this, stop. Keep shum, right? But you're in the middle of committing a legal act. And then, what's the worst thing that you could do that would lead to you ultimately being arrested?
Live stream it?
Live stream it's pretty good. Along the same lines, I'm thinking more old school.
More old school. Call the police. Rob a police station.
World's unluckiest burglars arrested after pocket dialing police during robbery.
Pocket dialing? What?
How unlucky can you get?
That's ridiculous.
By the way, this is only one of them, which means in my head I immediately thought, what did the other one think? Imagine the stare when the other one looks at him like, you what? You sat on your fucking phone and you accidentally called the one people that could arrest us.
Yeah, like the realisation that you have to confess to this is worse than the knowledge that the police are coming.
Two hapless burglars have been arrested in the UK after accidentally pocket dialing the police during their crime. An officer in Staffordshire, central England, labelled the thieves the world's unluckiest burglars and likened them to the ill-fated crooks in the movie Home Alone. I mean,
oh no,
I don't know if that's the highest tier of criminals you could be compared to.
Well, they're persistent.
I will say that, yes.
Look, they always get their comeuppance, but they never learn from their mistakes, Colin.
And they're unkillable.
Those men are cursed with immortality, correct?
We all know that. Bricks and everything, nothing stops them. So he said one of the pair mistakenly sat on his phone and rang 999, the UK's emergency number, allowing officers to hear the whole crime in progress and ultimately listen in on their colleagues arresting the duo.
Oh, so it was the whole time. This is like that time Mark Ruffalo leaked Thor.
The first 10 minutes of Thor Ragnarok.
And So were they like live commentating their own robbery, being like, and here we are at the 7-Eleven on 5th Street.
They'll never catch us, the fucking fuzz. More like the dickheads.
That's your band name, isn't it? The Dickheads.
It's just the two of them just having a good. And how's the mother? Is the mother okay? I know she's in hospital now, Ward 17 down the road. And I know she has a heart condition. What's it, Mrs. O'Shea? Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, she's a lovely lady now. What if
they got really personal? Like, and it was just like, yeah, I've been feeling really low, man. Thanks for bringing me in on this one. It's nice to feel wanted.
Susan won't talk to me at home anymore. You know where we live, just at the house past the red shop there on Ford. Do you know that?
No, you don't know. I'll give you my postcode. Don't you worry.
Honestly, here, look, I'll write it down for you. Get it tattooed on your arm, just so you forever remember this one crime we've committed.
Just hear a tattoo machine firing up.
The guys at the other end are like, we can't arrest them yet. They technically have not committed a crime. They brought their own tattoo machine. We have to wait till they take some objects of worth rather than just do tattoos in a random area.
This is... Like, was it actually... How do you pocket dial on a modern phone, though?
I mean, is there not the thing of, like, if you lock your phone and you open it back up, there's always a button for emergency calls at the bottom?
I guess, but like, I've locked my phone here, I don't have that. You know, all I see is your face on WhatsApp. That's a bit distressing to me. Maybe I should call the emergency services.
I thought you were going to say all you see is my face on, like, your wallpaper.
Oh, no, not my wallpaper, Connor. You're on my case.
Oh, well, yeah, no, you're the same with me. Yeah, I would never have a wallpaper of you. That's ridiculous.
That'd be weird if my room was literally wallpapered.
Hide the shrine. Hide the fucking shrine. Move it away. When are you coming back, anyway? What's going on?
What's happening? How are you?
Shaun, what do you think these like, when the cops show up, like, they have got to go through the moment where they're like, how the fuck did they know? And then one of them has the realisation.
Do you think as cops that they wouldn't tell? Like, they would just be like, let them just think that we always know.
I suppose. Like, but one of them, like, the two of them, even if they get arrested, are being taken away, and one of them has to check his phone, and when he opens it, like, the call is active with 999 written in, and he must look at it, and there's a moment where he's like, that's fucking weird, and then his eyes go wide, and he just slowly looks up at his partner, and he's just like, do I fucking tell him? Oh, well, if I tell him, he's going to kill me.
He's going to blame me for this. This will definitely be my fault.
So it's always my fault. What about him? Just like, no, actually, this one's definitely my fault, to be honest with you, lads.
This is like, I deserve everything that's coming to me here.
Yeah. Do you think they have a case if they go to, you know, any sort of court? Do you think the judge will, like, well, they did say they were innocent?
Yeah, well, I also think that the police probably recorded that call just to confirm the amount of illegal things happening. I'll be honest, Connor, if it does go to court, I think there'll be a lot of laughter from the judge. There'll be a lot of, you feckin' idiots.
John Owen, who's the chief inspector, he said, we received a call detailing all of their antics up to the point of hearing our patrols arrive to arrest them. So,
it was like they were listening to War of the Worlds or something.
They're just listening, and then they just hear the sirens. They're like, we may hang up now. I mean, the fun's over. The boys are there. So
yeah, we don't want to listen to our friends' work.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. That is a bit weird. So if you think of committing a crime, I think our only tips here from the podcast are put the phone away, maybe turn it off, because all they're going to do is probably maybe listen in on the whole crime because you might accidentally ring them.
Yeah, maybe airplane mode, lads. Like,
oh,
you know, that's all I'm saying.
Put airplane mode on airplanes committing crimes. Everyone knows that.
And then bonus, you have an escape route because your phone is an airplane now.
Do you think? Oh Lord. Do you think
I've thrown several phones off of cliffs?
Fly, my pretties!
Be free.
It's a Samsung 747. Any second now.
That's quite a good joke, Connor.
We don't normally get them. So, we're moving on to our next piece of news. And, Shaun, this story is only here for one particular paragraph. Now, I know that you're going to know when it comes up, and I'm very interested to hear your reaction. So, I have man jailed after snoring loudly at McDonald's.
Okay, not the most outlandish title we've ever had.
No.
Now, it's bad form, certainly.
Well, what if I told you he was in the drive-thru?
That's pretty good.
Thank you. The 28-year-old man was arrested after snoring loudly, and this is in their own words, and apparently sleeping behind the wheel in a McDonald's drive-thru lane, an affidavit states. The case of the dozing dude began about 3:47 a.m. when an Indian River County Sheriff's deputy went to a McDonald's in a 700 block, everyone's favourite block, for a suspicious vehicle. A deputy spied a man in a Ford pickup parked just at the top of the drive-thru lane, snoring loudly.
Right. So he made it to this. Wait, when you said the top of the drive-thru lane, like near the window where you ordered?
I think I can only assume he was near the window. Yes.
So he fell asleep on the way through the drive-thru.
Something happened when he gave his order to move 10 yards down the lane, and he just said, nah, fuck it. There's no point.
Just like, he ordered all that chloroform.
Yeah. He's like, a bit of chloroform with the Big Mac. I'll see if that's a good combination. Tell you what, I'll do the chloroform first, Big Mac second bite.
There we go, just how they enjoy it in Paris.
Now, Shaun, McDonald's, it does say in the next paragraph, McDonald's does not have a sleep-through lane. So...
Oh, very good.
But Shaun, this paragraph I think you're going to really like. So, sometimes journalists, they have to reach a word count, don't they, Shaun?
Oh, no.
This
is the worst form of journalism.
What is our favourite thing to cover on this show?
It's when, to reach like the top of the search engines, online journalists in particular will single in on one point of the story and then explain that in detail, like down to the definition of the word sometimes.
To a pointless degree that we all don't need explained to us, because what happens normally is like something mad happens and they write about it, and then these journalists are like, well, I've written about it, but I still have another 150 words to go. So I need to fill it in.
Okay, and I'm trying to think what they would, like, pick out in this story.
Yeah.
Is it the concept of a drive-thru?
Snoring is the hoarse or harsh sound that occurs when
Fucking Egypt.
Snoring is the hoarse or harsh sound that occurs when air flows past relaxed tissues in your throat, causing the tissues to vibrate as you breathe. According to the Mayo Clinic website, snoring can be caused by a number of factors, such as the anatomy of your mouth, your sinuses, alcohol consumption, allergies, a cold, and even, possibly, your weight. So now that we have that down, I think now I know. Firstly, when he said he was snoring in the drive-thru lane, I thought, funny story. I don't quite grasp the concept of what's happening.
I can't relate to this. I don't know what all the information's about.
I know a drive-thru. That's a much easier concept to understand than snoring. And what website is the source for this so I can block it from all of my searches? I'll never tell.
No.
But the next line, Shaun, is even worse, right? So you've got the definition of snoring, and I mean, I feel like you cannot. If I gave you 1,000,000 guesses, because they've got the concept of snoring down, but they still have maybe 40 words left, or maybe 20 words left. So you need one more sentence to really drag it out. They're just short. and if I gave you 1,000,000 guesses, you could never guess where this next line goes, because it references a movie. Please, Sean. Go on.
Movie?
I'll give you one guess. It's a story of a man snoring in a drive-through lane.
Okay, a man snoring in a drive-through lane. Movie. Something to do with sleep, maybe? Doctors? Not doctors, sleep. Is it Super Size Me?
The man seemed to be sleeping in the drive-through, and then in the worst transition to something else I've ever read, not even a full stop, as opposed to Sleeping with the Enemy, a 1991 movie starring Julia Roberts. What?
What's the link there?
'Cause they just needed words, and there's words in that sentence.
And now if anyone Googles Sleeping with the Enemy Julia Roberts, that article is more likely to come up.
And everyone knows that movie gets searched 1,000,000 times a day.
Oh, there's a server in Google dedicated to that movie.
That's my homepage. When I go on, it's the Wikipedia for Sleeping with the Enemy, the 1991 movie starring Julia Roberts.
This is the worst form. This is worse than the one that just described hats for 4 paragraphs.
I don't know. I really like the hat one, but yeah, I think it's a close one. I think this one gets it just from the single sentence of the man seemed to be sleeping in the drive-thru, as opposed to Sleeping with the Enemy, a 1991 movie starring Julia Roberts. I think that sentence alone I wouldn't have used this story other than that line.
That's what made it for you.
I read and I went, that's the worst piece of journalism I've ever seen. Sean needs to hear this.
I can't suffer alone.
But then, Sean, what happens? You go through 2 paragraphs where you filled a load of time. You have to get back to the story. And so very quickly they veer violently into, meanwhile, the man woke and the deputy asked for his licence.
I thought the story was done.
Story isn't done.
My God.
That was in the middle of it. That was just a little bit of a taster.
Right, okay, and so what was the man? He was arrested, obviously. But did he do something to the deputy?
The man says, "I don't have one. Go fuck yourself," he said to the deputy.
That will generally get you in trouble.
Back-to-back comments, not great. His truck smelled of booze and his speech was slurred. And now, to be fair, he's driving through a McDonald's drive-thru at 10 to 4 in the morning.
So you're saying, you're implying what there, Connor?
I'm saying he probably might have had a few.
A few driving lessons, and now he's hungry after them. He
told investigators he drank 6 to 8 beers at a bonfire earlier in the night, and also had rum runners, a cocktail involving rum.
That gives me no more information than the name Rum Runners does.
I like that they don't put a paragraph in for rum runners, just for snoring.
Yeah, of all the things you could fucking pick to describe.
Sean, what do you think of this story? Is journalism dead? Is this man a crazy person for sleeping in the drive-thru? What has occurred that he was awake when he ordered and asleep when it came?
I'm really not sure, because even 6 or 8 beer and rum runners in, surely all you want is food at that point.
Yeah, you're dying for food. But there's been many stories I've heard of many of my friends who would order a big kebab, take it home, and then just go to sleep. And then wake up the next morning and the house stinks of kebab.
Look, what you've done there, you've described, Sean, and there's nothing better than waking up beside a kebab, that's all I'll say.
There's literally nothing worse. At 8 o'clock in the morning, and I can only see your mouth's really dry, you have a headache, and you just look to your left. What did I take home with me last? What lovely lady did I bring home? Look to your left, and it's a fucking kebab.
You get the smell of the taco sauce straight in. The onions are there, waking you up. And
you think, that's breakfast. I think I've nailed it. I've already got the breakfast ready.
Don't even have to leave the bed, lads.
Jesus Christ. Shaun, is this man... Was he just... He was really hungry, but it was just one 4-minute drive too many?
Yeah, and if he had just lasted another maybe 30 seconds, he could have eaten, refuelled, and drove home while under the influence. Nice and safe.
Nice and safe. And we never would have had to hear about snoring. So, Shaun, we're going to move on to our next piece of news, and this is a strange one, because it's a bit of a mystery. We don't know what happened to these people, and they are Florida people, Shaun. So,
okay.
But it's Florida people on tour.
Oh, they've travelled.
Yeah. So I have 2 Delta passengers open door of moving plane and slide out with a dog at LaGuardia Airport.
Ah, LaGuardia Airport, yes.
Everyone's favourite airport.
Everyone's favourite airport. So just to set my mind at ease here, the dog is fine, right?
The dog is still alive. All 3 are still alive. The story is that Florida people, they've gone on tour, and then they decided they didn't want to be on the plane anymore. But, it was already moving. So then you're in a weird position where they think, well, it's moving, but we don't wanna. So
yeah, and if we leave now, we're kind of stuck here.
Yeah, but also if we leave this another 10 seconds, we'll be in the air, and we're definitely stuck.
Yeah, and it's probably not going that fast, right?
2 passengers on a Delta flight bound for Atlanta opened the cabin door and activated the slide to exit the plane while it was taxiing to a runway at the airport on Monday morning. A large service dog also deplaned with them. Deplaned? CNN has not been able to confirm details about the dog deplaning. What's a mystery? Where's the dog?
He's flying the plane.
But in reporting the pair's charges, Port Authority of New York and New Jersey spokeswoman Lennis Valens, great name, said a dog accompanying the 2 was taken to a Brooklyn animal shelter. So they did find a dog with them.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that the dog is okay. I'm glad no one got hurt.
Yeah.
My question is, did no one try and stop them from opening the door?
See, Florida people, they're strong. Florida man is very strong, and he's combined with Florida woman.
That's true. It's a team up for the age. It's like Batman and Wonder Woman fighting together.
Very similar. So Antonio Murdoch and Brianna Greco of Florida each face charges of 3rd-degree criminal trespass. Murdoch was additionally charged with 2nd-degree criminal mischief. Greco,
the best thing to be charged with.
He's got done with the mischief charge. You never want to get done with mischief.
Bit of shithousery, more like it.
Greco was provided as a receipt to retrieve the dog. Casey Johnson, a Manhattan resident flying home to his family in Panama City Beach, Florida, told CNN he switched seats with the couple and their dog at the gate beforehand. So Casey's he's our eyes and ears on the ground. Johnson said the couple were pleasant, and nothing appeared out of the ordinary to him during their interaction, he said. He called the man, identified as Murdoch, soft-spoken, and he seemed very nice.
Well, appearances can be deceiving. This is a man who would clearly... He would have jumped out with that plane at any altitude, I think.
Any altitude. Murdoch asked to switch seats with Johnson, he said, so they could have the last aisle of the plane to accommodate their dog. So far, so good. And, Casey Johnson, he's going to say, know what, it's absolutely fine. Have my seat, I'll swap with you.
Very accommodating man.
The plane was mostly full, except for middle seats left open per Delta's policy because of the global bastard. Minutes later, however, the couple moved again, several rows forward, Johnson said. I do actually remember thinking, well, you guys just asked me to swap rows with you because you wanted to be in the back, and now all of a sudden you decided you want to be in the front, he said. So, he's confused.
And look, he's allowed to be confused, but he doesn't understand that these Florida people have things that they want, and no one is going to take that away from them.
Johnson, who was wearing headphones as the plane taxied to the tarmac, later noticed a commotion. So the plane is moving, and he's looking out the window. He's like, we'll be setting off soon. Headphones on, just playing a bit of music. What can you do? And then he just notices something to his left, and there's a fight. And the next thing I know, I look up while we're moving, and I see lots of people standing up and screaming, and several people fighting over a door. And I see four people running towards the front of the plane. And at this point, those must have been passengers that were running to try to stop the person. So other passengers had to get up to run after them to be like, no, don't! Don't open the door!
If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself.
Johnson said, noting he didn't witness the pair and the dog as they jumped off the plane, yet did see that the emergency exit at the front of the plane near the cockpit was open. Johnson said the pilot told passengers over the cabin speakers that the slide had been deployed. That's a good sentence. And the door was opened, but did not...
That's quite a whimsical sentence. For something that's usually an emergency. Yeah.
Do you think he was over the speaker and he's like, the slide has been deployed. Now, I'm not being a fucking joke. I'm not having a laugh here. I'm saying
Kids,
we're stuck.
Do not get excited about this.
We're stuck on the tarmac. I'm sorry to sound whimsical when I say it, but the slide has been deployed. The co-pilot is just like, just say it another way, man. No, I'll say it the way I want to, Greg. Fuck's sake.
The seesaw will be here shortly.
So Johnson said the plane sat on the tarmac for more than an hour afterwards. Nobody knows why Murdoch and Greco exited the plane, but they are Florida people. So Shaun, my question to you is, they're at the gate, they ask Johnson to swap seats, so they sit at the back with their dog. Everything seems fine. But at some stage between then and getting to the tarmac and the plane starts to roll off, they decide, we no longer want to be in this plane. What occurred in between to lead them to run to the front of the plane, open the emergency exit with the slide has been deployed, and slide down it onto the tarmac with their dog?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's the feeling of, you know, when you get on, if you've ever gotten on a train and you realise, I got on the wrong platform, it's going the opposite direction to where I need to be. And then at least you say, oh look, I'll just get off at the next stop. But there's no stops really on a plane, is there? I
suppose the next stop is Atlanta.
And if they're trying to get to... when I started that sentence, I thought a sudden knowledge of American geography would just appear in my head.
If they're trying to get to Florida...
But and they're leaving from LaGuardia, which is in New York.
Yes.
Then it's a completely wrong direction.
Oh, everyone knows it's the opposite direction. Knows. And if you're laughing at us, tell us where our counties are. I'd be very intrigued.
Locate us by accent. Try it.
It's tough. Thank God I'm not from Cork.
Oh God, you can't hide a Clarke accent, which is good. It's a beautiful accent. I'm not saying anything.
Shaun, what is the cause here? What do Florida man and woman know that everyone else didn't know?
Are you suggesting that they knew something about the plane?
I think their left phalange was off.
Right. Okay. Have you ever seen the Harrison Ford film Air Force One?
Yes.
Okay, just imagine that. They knew that was going to happen.
They knew. They looked to their left and Harrison Ford was there. Oh, fuck. Because they're like, it was fucking real. I knew it was real.
That documentary, it's happening again.
So yeah, Florida man and woman, they've been on travels. Now, I do have many Florida man stories from in Florida this week as well. This is one of those weeks where Florida men went on tour, and then they also... he came home and he decided to cause havoc there too.
Okay, well let's hear about those escapades. I'm sure they're all reasonable. There's an explanation for everything, Connor.
Florida man lands in jail after using fire extinguisher to dry off. I like that you're his lawyer.
He's just like, why did you think that would work?
Just rubbing your temples. You're just like, Judge, everything can be explained. Like, all these things are just ridiculous. There's clearly a reason for everything, and this man clearly didn't do anything wrong. The judge is like, he dried himself off with a fire extinguisher. Right. That's going to be tough to defend. I will admit you might have...
Looking at it, like, where's the logic in that? Because a fire extinguisher is used to extinguish fires, something which is quite hot and dry, leading me to believe that a fire extinguisher would be almost the opposite of something that would dry you.
It would make you, like, a bit, I don't know, just a bit damper.
A bit more damp. Did it say what type of fire extinguisher it was?
I mean, a big red one. What are you thinking?
Was it like the foam? Was it the powder? Could it be used on an electrical fire?
A Florida man who... And the start of this paragraph really tells you a lot of where we are intellectually with Florida man. A Florida man who wasn't on fire was arrested Tuesday night after police say he sprayed himself with a fire extinguisher in an attempt to dry himself off. Florida State University police found David Mann, 54, on the top floor of a parking garage with an extinguisher and covered in powder, the Tallahassee Democrat reported.
Okay, so it was powder, which... Was he wet? Was he, like, damp at all?
Man told police he had been drinking and he fell asleep and then fell in water, and then when he woke up, so he fell asleep, he got drunk, fell asleep, and then afterwards fell into water when he woke up.
Just he fell asleep beside a big puddle.
And then just rolled over. No, he was on like a cliff edge over a massive canyon of water. Just like a reservoir. Just like rolled over. Like,
he fell asleep on a diving board.
Yeah. Time for a bit of a snoozy snooze. So he wakes up and he's covered in water shot and he's thinking, fuck, I could easily pass by all those towel shops in town. There's loads of them. But that one fire extinguisher shop, that's the place for me.
How many towel shops do you think exist on this road?
I think there's a niche in the market. I'm thinking of starting one up myself.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck with that. But this man has decided... Did he have immediate access to a fire extinguisher?
He must have. He said he was using the fire extinguisher to try to dry himself off, which implies to me that he just woke up and there was a fire extinguisher there. And then he thought, this is clearly the best course of action. I'll
blow the water off of me, correct.
Smart. He was charged with interfering with firefighter equipment. Wait! So, he stole it from the firefighters.
Oh, that's even more illegal.
I just thought he had an extinguisher. If he went out of his way to go to a station with firemen and women in it, and then decided to, turn up, I'd just be like, sure, they won't need this. Sure, I need this more than they do.
Sure, what are they going to do with it? Nothing. I'll be dried off.
I'll be dried off. No fire's set. I'm absolutely delighted with myself. Shaun, is Florida man the smartest of us, or maybe he's just the worst person to defend in court?
I mean, the lawyers must be exhausted at this point.
How do you get him off, is my question.
Oh, I think you would have to somehow convince the jury he woke up on fire.
Hear me out. What if he woke up and he was already ablaze?
We've all been there. We catch fire.
Do you know when you're in bed in the summer and it gets you wake up and you're like sweating and it's just clammy? It's like that, but with actual flames.
And if when you're on fire, every towel looks like a fire extinguisher. Isn't that what they say?
Isn't it? And the judge is just looking at him like, no, that's not what they say. That's not even nearly close. Shaun, maybe he was setting himself, or he was covering himself in fire extinguisher in preparation for becoming on fire.
Do you think he was intending to start some fires? Because that's a whole other trial that we'd have to do.
No, I think he was just worried about combustion.
Yeah, he's often worried about combustion.
I don't think a lot of us put enough thought into what if I combusted right now. And this guy, he's clearly thinking outside the box.
Or outside the canister. What's it called? Is it a bottle? No. A tank? Is it a tank?
A tankard.
A tankard. A full tankard of powder.
A bottle. No way. No, I think it's a tankard. I was going to go for something else, but I do think it is a tankard. Or a trough of fire extinguisher stuff.
A trough? Just shoveling that onto a burning building.
They wheel up the trough, and then the fire extinguisher or the firemen and women look at each other, and then one of them picks it up at one end, and one of them picks it up at the other end, and just like tips it over into the fire. Oh, jeez, we didn't reach very high up.
Well, look, we did our best.
The ground floor is done, boys. Our job finished.
Sure, fire rises. It'll never touch that ground floor again.
The whole top is just black. We've nailed it, lads. I think we've actually done that really well.
We've hit that one. It's a home run. Look at it go.
Okay, we're going to move on to Toronto now, Shaun. Now, I know I have 2 more Florida men stories to come, but Toronto was also the home of a very strange story this week that I felt like we needed to talk about, and that was Toronto man charged in absurd heist involving suitcase full of meat.
Oh, okay, so a heist involving a suitcase full of meat. Time sensitive, first of all.
Yeah.
You know, that's not going to stay in that suitcase forever.
It's not going to be good after a while.
It's not. So, what was the heist about? What's the heist element of this?
In one of the more bizarre busts of late, 2 men were caught stealing from a grocer. And not just any old food staples, but a whole bunch of meat, specifically for some reason. I don't know. TPS issued a release this week about the crime, in which the perpetrators entered a store near Keele and Dundas West and began very quickly taking meat products off the shelves and placing them into a suitcase they brought with them from home.
Okay. So, and in full view of everyone, is it?
Just, you walked into the store, you said, I'll be having a bit of that. I like steaks. I'm glad we brought the suitcase from home. It's empty as fuck. Open the suitcase up in the middle of the store floor and just begin piling it in.
Just fill that with some bit of mate. And wheel it up then straight to the exit and just keep going.
Just, they'll never find out. There's nothing quieter than a suitcase.
What if it was like an old school like leather trunk that they filled?
What if afterwards they looked at each other like, oh fuck, I think we're a kg over. I don't want them to charge us. I don't want them to fucking charge us.
I didn't pay the extra. It won't fit in the cage.
No,
it won't fit in the cage.
It won't. We may have ribs tonight. We may have the fucking ribs tonight because there's no way I'd leave. We may have them on
the way out the door.
When confronted by a staffer on the scene, which makes sense. If you're working in that store, you see 2 random men walk in with a suitcase, proceed to open it up, and just begin to take raw meat from the shelves and put it into their case.
That's worrying, I would describe, from a retail perspective.
You're just going to look at it and just be like, how do I approach this?
You walk up, you say, hi, can I help you with anything? And
no,
then
you walk up and say, nice to meet you.
Oh, very good, very good. You had a lot at stake on that joke. And
they say, no, we're fine. we're absolutely, honestly, we're grand.
Yeah, and then you've done all you can at that point.
Clock off for lunch. Let's fucking crack on, lads.
I'd say early day home.
One member of the duo decided that they didn't like the staffer who approached them asking what they were doing and began wielding a knife and making threats.
Yeah, at that point, definitely take the early day.
No, just everything that's occurred, he's just like, oh fuck, I should have called in sick. Honestly, I need to go home.
Boss, I am not being here right now.
I might be here physically, but emotionally, I'm all over the place, boss. I think it's best for the business if I leave. After which, so they began making threats and wielding a knife. They were very into this meat. After which, they were able to quickly flee to the airport, perhaps you may think, with an array of steaks and pork chops in hand. Well, in a suitcase.
Yeah, they're not it's not carry-on.
Let's not get fucking... I didn't book a carry-on. I'm not a fucking stook, right? So...
What the fuck is a stook?
A stook is a very Irish thing, I thought. Maybe it's from my area.
Yeah, I've not heard that. That's great.
A stook is just an idiot.
Oh, okay. Stook. I've heard of someone being in a stook, and that's when they're, like, just angry and they're tick with you, like.
No, this is just their tick.
They're they're a stook, like.
They're a stook, yeah. So I'm letting the world know some of the many colloquialisms from my area. And their gateway vehicle of choice, Shaun. So I know what you're thinking. They've turned it's a heist. So you're going to want a good getaway vehicle for what you're committing. I mean, it's a pretty big crime.
It is. The theft of meat is sacrilege, I would say.
And they brought the suitcase, which means they planned it out beforehand.
Oh, yeah. It's premeditated meat theft.
Exactly. So you would think, we'll get the driver ready, we'll get away. Well, their vehicle of choice was an Uber to get away from the robbery.
And was the Uber waiting for them by any chance?
No, it was not.
These are the things you need to plan for.
Somebody just commented underneath this article. They just said, when you plan a meat heist, you might want to at least own a vehicle.
I think that's a fair criticism I think of
all the criticisms. I think step one, own a vehicle. Just if you're gonna commit a crime, you don't want to be bringing Ubers in.
No, if you need a getaway, make sure you can actually get away.
Now, thankfully, the police were able to identify one of the thieves, who was also apparently behind a number of other similar crimes in the area.
Wow, they're getting their money worth out of that suitcase.
The other suspect remains at large, so he is still out there searching for steaks and pork chops.
And surely they're selling them on, that they're not just keeping them in their freezer, right?
I mean, sure, yeah. They're not just, like, bringing them home like, look what I got for din-dins, huh? No.
We are going to eat well tonight and for the next 18 months.
But probably not the next day, they'll probably go off. I told you I should have got the packaged meat. I keep getting the one from the butcher.
I put the suitcase under the meat grinder and just grind it straight in.
I do it manually. I don't want to be messing about with, like, going around packaging. I don't trust it. What's in it? I want the natural stuff.
I want it as God intended.
It just gets home and his wife or his husband is just like, I've decided to go vegetarian for the month of January. I'm really trying to lose a few pounds. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
You are going to not like what I have in this suitcase. Oh, you going on holiday? No, I'm not.
This is not the greatest thievery plan I've ever seen.
So, Shaun, I thought, okay, that's a pretty poor plan, but Florida Man always has a way to top what has occurred, and the last two stories of this week are really where Florida Man comes into his own. Okay? Because our first one is Florida Man tries to pass off drugs as baking ingredients.
Now, this depends on the drug, really, doesn't it? Because if it's like, I don't know, PCP, you're not passing that off as flour, are you?
It's heroin. That's how I'm making my gatto. That's actually.
I need all these spoons.
A traffic stop in Port St. Lucie ended with a man being arrested for having baking ingredients in his car. Jethro Genius, who probably did not live up to his name, was in a car pulled over around 3 a.m. on St. Lucie Boulevard. Shaun?
Everyone's favourite saint.
Damn it.
What? Did I do something wrong?
Will I read the Mayo Clinic paragraph back to you as punishment?
Yeah, if you
I
could,
will.
actually, please.
The officer noticed Genius, a passenger in the car, moving shiftily and something around by his feet. So he's not even the driver, and the police officer just looks in and he's immediately acting suspicious.
Not a good look when you're hiding, baking materials
Come on
under
now.
the seat.
It's Mary Berry. I didn't tell him. This is Mary Berry's alter ego.
Just mad for some crack.
When police discovered Genius had an outstanding warrant for his arrest, he was taken out of the car, and officers noticed a backpack on the front floorboard of the vehicle. Inside the backpack, so they pulled the backpack out. Inside the backpack were a scale and 2 large bags of a white and brown substance.
Regular flour and wholemeal flour.
I mean, so far, I'm pretty sure, like, at that point, he's got to come up with a story. So, they pull out the scales and they pull out a bag of white and brown substance, and they just have the moment where they look at him. And he has the moment where he's making eye contact and he thinks, I'm going to have to try and come up with a reason why I have a backpack full of scales and white powder.
Yeah, and there's a couple of thoughts that must go through his head at that point. Number one, come clean. Confess that it's drugs. Not an option in this case.
I'm Jethro Genius. Never going to work.
Come on, Jethro, you can genius your way out of this one.
He's rubbing his head. Come on, Jethro, you can do this. Genius said the items were sugar and a bag of cornstarch to bake a cake, obviously.
Obviously. Those are the only 2 things you need for cake.
That's true. They're just like, what about the eggs and the milk? Pfft, officer, fuck off. I'm going vegan. Police said both substances were taken back to the station, Shaun, and tested. Now, I want you to guess what happened.
Was it not sugar and corn flour?
It wasn't. It was castor sugar and self-raising flour.
It's the cheats way of making cake.
Both substances tested positive for ecstasy and had a combined weight of 300 grams.
Right, okay, I don't know the going rate, but that sounds like a lot.
I think that's more than enough ecstasy to have a good time.
In your expert opinion, Connor, would you say that's enough ecstasy?
That's how I sell drugs. It's like, is this enough? In my opinion, that would be more than enough ecstasy to have a bit of crack. I think more than
work
enough.
Away.
You know what? I appreciate the honesty, sir. Please, could I have 4 bags? While at the jail, so he's been arrested, and what's happened is that he's been arrested. He said there were scales for baking. He's not gotten away with it. However, while at the jail, Genius then proceeded to drop another clear bag with a white powdered substance that tested positive for meth in it.
That, officer, is the secret ingredient.
That's how you make it moist. You go when I get that sponge, you know. You don't want to overdo it. It'll go all dry. You won't be able to eat it. I won't impress Paul Hollywood at all.
No, he'll call that an affront to God.
He's just like, I want the handshake, officer. I want the fucking handshake.
And so has he been arrested? Is he on bail? Can he still go to work at the bakery?
Shaun, that man is no longer working at the bakery. He has been arrested and he is sitting in a jail in Florida because he gets pulled over, and I think the story becomes that it's one of the stories we haven't heard yet of scales and white powder. Nobody's attempted the baking lie. And I kind of appreciate that. And then this man, he's the one and only who's decided maybe he did watch the Great British Bake Off on the side, and he was maybe watching a series of it, and then that was in his head when he got asked what the powder is.
Like, we keep having to lower the bar, being like, surely they won't use this excuse. But then they always do.
I think the best one was the woman who had the drugs in her bag and said the wind blew it in through the window.
Yeah, that was... I thought that was as bad as it could get.
But Shaun, we finish with one that I think will rival that woman who said the drugs flew in through the window, because Florida man, he has a history of... He's doing illegal things, right? But sometimes he gets away with it. But...
For a while.
Something minor happens, and he decides that he's going to call the police, forgetting that he's also got a lot of illegal stuff going on with himself.
Right, okay. So there's two crimes involved. One of them that he did, one of them was done to him. Am I correct there?
That is correct. And he just kind of forgets the fact that his crime is definitely a bigger problem.
Yeah, like murder is different than he scratched my car.
Florida man calls 911 about McDonald's order that wasn't right and says he has cocaine in his butt.
Oh. Is there any chance that the cocaine had worked its way into his bloodstream and he wasn't thinking clearly?
Guards had called... your man's name is Mustafa Guardi. And Guardi had called 911 3 times early last Wednesday morning from a McDonald's on the Tammany Trail East, everyone's favourite trail on the east. I
was going to say everyone's favourite cardinal direction.
He said they had gotten his burger order wrong twice. He rang them 3 times for 2 wrong burger orders. It means one call was him just saying, I'm about to call you in 5 minutes if they fuck up this Big Mac.
Yeah, this will be... Look, all I can say is, officer, you better get there before I get mad.
Because if they give me one with another fucking gherkin in it, I'm going to hit the fucking roof.
I will blow a lid.
When deputies arrive, so they've been called by him 3 times, remember. They were called by Florida man himself. And they arrived to the scene. And they arrived at the McDonald's. Employees said Guardi had been yelling and cursing at staff over his mistaken orders. And they wanted him taken from the premises.
Oh, so the police showing up played right into their hands, really.
Yeah. Guardi said he wouldn't leave the building unless his burger was fixed.
Oh, he didn't want a new burger. He wanted the burger that they fucked up. He wanted them to repair that.
Oh, well, there's no point in repairing a different burger. I want you to do the same burger. I'm not touching somebody else's burger. Sir, we'll make you a fresh one. That's not what I want. I want this one.
It is... This is a matter of principle, officer. I asked for this burger to be made.
So you think somebody raising this much ruckus, or this much problem, Shaun, he would have to be clean as a whistle. He'd have to have no crimes committed himself.
Full confidence in the law, I would say.
The deputy told him again that he had to leave. To which he said, fine, then take me to jail, because I'm not leaving, he said, as he raised his hands towards the deputy.
Right, okay, he's gone for the chaotic route in resolving this.
He's he went full, I'm going to just self-destruct unless I get my own way.
Yeah, I'll take you down, I'll take me down. I do not care.
The deputies escorted the disgruntled customer from the burger joint eventually. And in the process, they decided to just do a search of him, because he was raising a bit of an issue in a public area. So they were probably going to give him a warning, maybe just send him home, just fucking look after yourself. Maybe fine him for what he was doing. But upon searching his pocket, Shaun, the deputy found marijuana folded into a napkin, firstly. And
right.
While he was being placed into the patrol car, he then admitted to having another drug tucked away in his arse.
And this is the cocaine that you teased earlier in the report.
Raises the question, Shaun. During all of that, he had cocaine in his arse. And he still called the police 3 times to get them to come and check out his crime.
He must have really wanted that burger fixed, though.
How confident do you have to be? It's You know that there's no way you don't know that cocaine is in your arse 24/7. There's not a moment of the day where you forget it's in there. But when it's there, you do not call the one people that could or the one group of people that could cause you to maybe go to jail and would look down upon that, to then go, I have a very minor, small crime I want you to check out.
Yeah, you would fly under the radar, surely.
Just chill.
Just
like, oh, you got the burger wrong. Ha ha. Isn't it all a laugh? Sure, I'll have something else. Don't worry about it.
I'll have some chicken nuggies.
Yeah. Guardy was taken to the Naples jail centre, but the deputy was told Guardy would need to be medically cleared before being admitted, according to the report. So the EMTs arrived and he was loaded onto a stretcher. Watch what you do to me. You'll be sorry, he said, as he combated both deputy and medical help.
Fuck, he's not. He's too powerful for them.
The deputy had to help load Guardy on the stretcher a second time because he kept trying to get up. Leg shackles were finally placed on him and he was taken to Naples Community Hospital. While at the hospital, he continued to be aggressive towards healthcare workers and deputies, who I'm sure are not stressed about other things happening right now.
No, I'm sure that they've had a very quiet week.
Yeah. I'll have your job. I'll sue you, he said. I'm from New York. Don't worry, I'll get you, he told them, according to the report.
Why is being from New York a threat?
I don't know. Just like, I'm from New York. Okay. That's
cool.
That's pretty cool. That's good. Geographically, that's a solid place to be from.
Yeah, this is Florida. You're a ways from home, but hey, you're welcome here.
At the time of the report, and remember, all this is happening, at the time of the report, Guardy was still in the emergency room.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so he's... Okay, I'm going to ask a question, Connor. It might seem rude.
Okay.
Did they get the cocaine out of his arse?
They did get the cocaine out of his arse eventually, but they never would have checked unless he told them.
That's true. They wouldn't have known to look.
So they were just taking him away because he was a crazy man. But he was sticking by the fact that he didn't have cocaine in his arse until then the officer takes him away and he's just like, fuck it, I may tell him. It's embarrassing if they find it and I don't tell them.
It's weirder for me to not tell them there's cocaine in my arse.
I think that's something that doesn't naturally come up in conversation. You have to really drive it.
Yeah, you have to instigate that. That can't be discovered halfway through the chat.
And so, what do you think of this Florida man, Sean? Is he just an idiot?
Yeah. Sorry, okay, more in depth. He has anger issues, I think, and he can't just leave it well enough alone, which is often the case with Florida man, that they'll commit several crimes and get away with it, and then they'll be driving around and one of their brake lights will be out and they'll get caught for that.
Yeah, like we've had Florida men who their apartment was being searched for drugs and like all the riot squad were there and then they would turn up with drugs in their pockets going, what's going on here, lads?
Yeah, and also there's all these other things I need to talk to you about.
Yeah. Just like, surely if you see them there, you throw the drugs away before approaching them. But Florida man can't help themselves. Like, they are the people that commit 50 crimes and then one minor thing happens to them and they're like, I better call the police. I have been wronged. There have been falsehoods done against me. I have never done anything wrong in my life ever. Other than the drugs in my arse, but that is completely harming myself.
Exactly, I'm not hurting anyone else.
Unless I give them to someone else, then maybe. Sean, I think that's it for this week's Weird News Wednesdays.
What a week of weird news. There's been a lot of Florida man. I'm glad to see Florida man surface again.
Florida man had a few quiet weeks over the Christmas period. And then he kind of veers back up in January. Yeah,
and now maybe we'll have Florida man on the regular every hour of every day, and then the world will explode.
Also, we are very excited to announce, just before we start finishing the show, is that in terms of our merch store, we are going to be having a 21% off sale happening from next week onwards. It's going to be on for 4 days. It's 21% off everything. And to coincide with that, we will be launching 2 brand new designs on the store.
Oh my god.
Yes.
That's great news, Connor.
That is great news. So if you didn't want to get something because it just had the logo on it, we're branching out. We've got many different logos upcoming. They're already done. I'm just waiting until that sale goes active. Launch them at the same day.
So look forward to that, everyone. The link to that is in the description of this episode. And I think it's on our social media and stuff as well.
Yeah, it is.
If people want to look into it that way. And other than that, will I take us out for the show, Connor?
Please.
Thanks. Okay, here we go. Let's try this. So,
this is not his first week. I just want to make that clear.
Guys, I'm just going to freestyle here. I'm going to see what happens.
Just going to try and figure it out. 351 episodes. Let's see what goes on.
So, thank you everyone for listening to this week's episode of Weird News Wednesday. We will be back Friday with Hero or Zero, Monday with Movie Mondays, and next Wednesday with another episode of Weird News Wednesday. Big thank you goes out to everyone who supports us over on Patreon, patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Thanks a million goes to Waffles Williams, Ciara Lawler, David Clarke, Ed Ball, Joe Burney, Ray Ging, Roisin Hally, Ryan Evanson, Shaun Jamieson, Dominic, Jessiah Green, Anna Hjelmroos, and Richard McGrew. Thank you all so much for your continued support. We really appreciate it. If you want to join those fine people, head on over to patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. As I said, we're on all the social medias. You can follow us on Facebook. There's Detective Divilment's discussion group. Good place to hang out and talk nerdy stuff with everyone. Or you can email us, heroesforhire_@outlook.com. But I think that's about it, Connor.
I think so. So I've been Ciara Lawler.
I've been Shaun Jamieson.
I'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.